times. This time around, though, I think in the second round robin, he's been really able to step up his game. I don't think he's at the Worlds level he was at last year. Meanwhile, Hanabi, kind of similar. Got caught out in lane early on during the split and lost out onto the 1v1. So I think both of these players are in the same situation where they've evolved. I don't know if they're at their true peak yet, though.
Very true, as now this is going to be the draft where perhaps we might see a Wukong enter the competition, enter the draft again, as it has been left out open. Not 100% win rate anymore, sadly, but at the same time, it still has been proven to be effective against, you know, squishy backline and as the bane of AD carries in general. Once it comes to the 5v5s, and now Olaf getting banned out. We'll see what HKA decides to pick up, as that's going to be a denial from Hanabi this time around.
Yeah, Hanabi not going to have the monkey this time around, as he gets banned out on the side of HKA. For Hong Kong Attitude, some target bans here and there, mainly toward on the side of Talon, mainly just trying to, you know, control Jimmy in the mid lane, and then just some generic, you know, strong picks like the Set and Olaf being taken away. That does mean, though, with the block being banned, the Elise is still available, and that is going to get locked in immediately there for River.
Insta-lock by Talon Esports for sure. And HKA, that is going to be the Senna Open. We'll see whether or not they decide to get the Senna Kench. It does fit their play style and trying to get these long-haul games. And again, they have the longest average game time in the whole entirety of PCS. So they could opt for that one.
All right,
maybe not.
So it's going to be instead the Kalista getting locked in for Eminem, who's had a couple of good games there on the Kalista, and yeah, I don't think the Senna's going to be locked in. The Mordekaiser makes a little bit more sense, unless they plan on running the Senna in the support role. She ain't all that great in support anymore. They're hovering pretty long here. I'm interested. Is HKA? All right, that makes more sense. Get the Sejuani and get some engage in a good front line.
Yeah, I was about to say it is a possibility. They could sort of put Kalista topside still for 3Z. But they still don't know what they're going to play at topside, so a little bit risky, I suppose. Meanwhile, for Talon, though, they're hovering over this Cassiopeia. Oh, but yeah, you know, Pantheon has been banned yesterday countless of times, and for Talon, they'll definitely really like to have this pick opened up, and looks like that is the plan.
We're seeing a little bit of a different setup here also come out from Talon. This is already establishing what is possibly a very heavy pick style of composition, where you're having the Elise with the follow-up from the Pantheon. So interesting that this is now coming out of Talon just now. I believe the Jarvan hooker isn't intentional there, of course. But maybe try and pick up your... hey, I remember running Elise support back in, what, Season 4? That was a fun time.
Yeah, that was
going to be the Varus, though, with the Chain of Corruptions for the pickup.
Yeah, with this, though, it really sort of diminishes what Jimian wants to play as a burst type of mid laner against this Pantheon. But at the end of the day, this is the exact same composition that we saw in Liab, where they got the Elise, they got the Pantheon, and they would constantly pressure topside. So for 3Z, I'd be afraid of this setup already. So he has to really get a nice level 3 top lane for him to be safer.
As that's also going to be the Taric getting locked in. So already some safety for that Kalista as HKA. They're already... I can already tell what they're going for here, Riku. It's the late game dream where you're able to get the Cosmic Radiance onto the Kalista and she's able to hyper carry during the team fights. We'll see though if HKA can even get to that point, as now into the second round of bans. It's going to be the Kench being taken away. That's usually what we see paired up with the Varus, and the Syndra, again, targeting toward Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, it could be one of those things where HKA completely shifts style and becomes a little bit more aggressive. We've seen countless of times against this matchup, Kalista and as well as this Taric, especially if you don't pair it with a safe support for Varus. It's easily exploitable with the stuns and the CC lock and the damage from the Rend earlier on. And there's not a lot of options to like dash out of the range of the Rend as well, considering you're a Varus. So we'll have to see what Talon decides to pick up for that defense against this Kalista.
Well, there we are. It's going to get rid of the Braum here for HKA. So now for Talon, coming down to their final ban. Going to try and just go ahead and ban out the Irelia, which has seen a couple picks here and there. Now for HKA, what do they wish to try and respond with and lock it down? Possibly in the top lane for 3Z. Renekton, we've seen Renektons be able to survive some early dives if played correctly. It's still pretty risky though when you pair that up with a Pantheon Elise.
Agreed. We've seen Renekton try to make an outplay around level 3 and level 6. Those are the crucial times where you can't exactly try to... those are risky times to dive a Renekton. So that's the reason why we see a lot of like level 3 dives from this one. But... Whoa.
We're getting ourselves our Bard. Bard, by the way, 100% win rate when it comes to the PCS. Actually disgusting that our players are so good at the Bard. Oh no. Is this going to be the Quinn counter that we have seen time and time again? It does give the option here for Hong Kong Attitude to flex that Renekton elsewhere, as it's going to be locked in.
We've seen this before though, where they locked in the Quinn against the Renekton only to flex Jimian, flex it to the mid lane, Renekton to the mid lane. And now, is this a hover? Or will this be a surprise counter against the Quinn at topside?
I don't know if the Trundle's in any better situation.
Yeah.
The Rumble, though, can go either way, and we've seen Jimian actually play it before, so they might just play this Renekton in the top lane and see how it goes, as it's going to get locked in.
I'm excited because, I mean, it's still... the Rumble can still be for 3Z, considering that Jimian likes to play heavy dive as well in the mid lane. So perhaps there is still that option, as they're trying to swap in a little bit. So just we'll have to wait and see where these things are going. But so far, standard for Talon and Candy. Again, just as you mentioned, a shift in style for the side on Candy, not on the mage this time, but a lot more on the Pantheon here, as he'll be roaming towards the different parts of the map. Actually, you add in the Quinn, so that's a lot of roaming presence.
Yeah, and for Talon, it's not about them playing slow in their game either. Once you hit around that level 6, you want to see action from all their lanes, minus that bot lane that's going to be scaling up as their backup plan. So a bit of a change up here coming out from Talon. We'll see how it goes here. HKA, on the other hand, a victory here gets them into playoffs. They take the loss, and they will have to at least play a tiebreaker against Liab. So everything on the line here. One win away from playoffs versus having to fight your way back.
And that seems to be the case. It has been the last-minute pull-out on towards this Renekton at top side, and it will be the Rumble instead facing Hanabi on the Quinn.
So we'll see. We're going to go ahead, get ourselves set, locked and loaded for our 5th game of the night. It is, of course, our Battle of Hong Kong, Talon and Hong Kong Attitude, both Hong Kong-based organizations. There's always a little bit of rivalry. We also saw that over on the socials on the Mandarin side of the PCS, where already memes coming out from Talon, HKA. They were called the ATM last time from Talon, so we'll see how this goes as we load on into the Rift.
Talon has big impact on the matches tonight. First on the Resurgence match, and now against HKA. But yeah, Bard at the moment, 100% win rate. That is mad impressive from the players.
Have items. He forgot his
and
items.
He's dancing around.
This is him asserting dominance. Maybe that's... well, Wing is also just Taric, by the way, and Taric is just too fabulous for the Rift. Yeah, I think Kaiwan's like, wait a sec, I have to go back. As, hello there, chat. Hello. Yeah, they said item. They said item. Kaiwing, where's your item? Oh my god. I love it. Thank you, observers. Oh, that's great.
That is cute. That is so cute.
Oh boy.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I see it. I see
Crazy.
the chat. But yeah.
Oh my god.
But as you see, HKA was all smiles entering the whole before the game entered. You see double cleanse for the part of Jimian, for the side of Jimian, and as well as Eminem, which is quite understandable considering a lot of the single target stun locks that you have from Talon. You have one from Candy. You definitely have one from the Varus, and as well as the Cocoon from River. So this early game will really possibly go out of control. But good thing they've got double cleanse, which will save them a little bit.
Yeah, you're rocking Cleanser on the Renekton, so for some added little bit of safety, you don't want Jimmy getting consistently dove in mid, especially with a Pantheon Elise combo. So I expect, though, River's going to try and blow those summoners immediately and maybe try and make a repeat gank. I think it'll be up to Hollow to try and answer what he can when River's already likely to be aggressive.
Indeed. And yeah, it is the safest option for Jimian, considering that we are in the mid lane, therefore there's just so many entries of gank for River. You can also consider if Jimian is shoved in his own tower, you can go gank from the Raptor and get a sneaky cocoon.
See here, that's River actually already pushing here. Showing himself mid, just wants to hard press it. As that's going to allow Candy and River actually to roam directly toward the top lane. Hollow wants to maybe try and answer this, but it looks like the dive is already going to be coming on through. Hollow coming in from the tower. We'll see if 3Z is going to be there, as that's actually already forced Jimmy to have to go back to the tower. He wasn't sure where it's going to be. Now Hollow's going to show himself. Who's going to take the aggro? It is going to be Candy, as 3Z forced the flash away. River gets back to safety. Beautifully done. HKA has expected this, as level 3 pretty strong for Talon Esports. They have priority over at all the lanes. And they saw this coming, definitely, considering that they also saw River roam around and pass through mid lane and went upwards. And Flash burnt, and meanwhile for Talon, not a lot has been burned. Not a whole lot gained. It does at least get the flash down on 3Z, and maybe Hanabi can try and add some pressure toward that top side. Unfortunately, being the Queen, you're not necessarily you don't have a bunch of range. And I think 3Z can get pretty close to him if he tries to go for heavy trades with the Flame Spitter. Yep, agreed. And there's not a lot of options for escape aside from the vault. So if an all-in decides to present itself in the form of Hollow ganking topside, just sort of shut down Hanabi early, it is going to be difficult because Hanabi also has cleanse. So this is going to be the first time where 3 cleanses has been carried on the whole game. So a lot of safety for a lot of precautionary measures. 3Z is just going to continue trying to push that in while he can. Bot lane here, though. Kaiwing not able to land the Q to try and get that quick stun. Again, I'm interested to see how Kaiwing looks to try and roam. I expect, especially with the Pantheon and Elise, that maybe we see him just try and make visits toward that mid lane to try and get Jimian's cleanse and flash down, as Hollow is going to get spotted out by the ward as he puts down the control ward. That means Talon Esports has control over this top side momentarily. That said, we'll see whether or not River will rotate back at top side with 3Z quite extended into the lane. It seems to me that he's going to freeze it right at past the River slightly. I see Kaiwing actually going for this roam here. Instead of mid, though, he's coming up top, as that's going to be the ward dissipating, but it doesn't matter. Magical Journey comes on in. 3Z, unfortunately, does not have a flash available, and he'll get taken down. That's first blood going on over to Hanabi. He tried his best to sidestep, but again, against 3 people, there's not a lot of options you can do. And that is pretty worth, considering that they didn't have to burn any other summoner spells on their side as well. They spotted out Hollow at the bottom side of the map. And that means any sort of potential gank coming from HKA at the time would not be present. So great job from Talon. We saw, though, lots of pings were coming down toward that bot lane. Luckily, Unified, I think, is able to stay safe, because Hollow just decided not to go for it. So HK are not going to be able to answer Talon here, and that's going to be a 1,000 gold lead starting to form now for Talon Esports. True. It would definitely be a different story if it were a Thresh against this Varus pick. But since it is going to be heavily reliant on still having to walk towards the enemy and landing that perfect angle for the stun, it is going to be a little bit awkward if you want to take advantage of the support not being present at the time. With that, Talon are able to get a little bit of pressure, and looks like they're just going to go for a bit of a ward trip, try and track down where Hollow is once again. It's actually going to be the control ward being used. Wing is in the mid lane, maybe looking for a play here on Candy. Candy has hit level 6 just now, so this Pantheon now has a little bit of threat when it comes to the rest of the map, as Jimian able to trade back nicely, and we have ourselves a bit of a quick pause.
All right. So I was just about to say as well that Hanabi has level 6 too, and when he does have that priority, it just makes Jimmy's life a little bit much harder with that Quinn roam, and as well as because sometimes if 2 people is not enough for a dive, then you add in a little bit more.
Yeah, just getting word here, it was actually a quick little audio issues over on the side. I believe it was Talon, so hopefully we'll get ourselves back into the action quite shortly once we are able to sort out that tech issue so the teams can hear each other. But yeah, now that we've hit level 6, especially with this Pantheon on Candy, I expect a lot more action coming out from Talon. It was great to see them actually be able to punish 3Z for using his flash so early. So now I expect we're going to maybe see a repeat gank consistently up there for the next couple of minutes.
For sure, and now we saw before the pause that the wave is slowly going towards the side of 3Z, and therefore it will definitely open up for a scary dive, most definitely. And with all the damage coming from Pantheon, at least especially with the early scale rotation of that burst, and Quinn with an easy burst as well, 3Z is not gonna have a fun time up there.
No, it's not an enjoyable time for 3Z, especially without a flash. Like I mentioned though, if he can get within range of Hanabi, it forces Hanabi to actually, I believe it's using the backflip, so that back kick to get him back to safety. He has a bit of a reset built into the kit, so it actually gives him a bit of a little bit of a buffer room when it comes to being in between him and the Rumble. So again, we'll see how that matchup goes. Mid lane, they haven't been really able to threaten to dive in on the Renekton. Of course, it's a short lane, and once he has that dash, he can get himself to safety pretty easily. I think it's the bot lane, actually, that I'm shocked we haven't seen really much attention come out from Hong Kong Attitude, whereas you have this Varus that, you know, has been left alone a couple times now, and they've yet to try and go for a dive.
And we've actually encountered that many times before. It is actually the complete opposite result on where we see the Kalista and Varus. You pair that up with an aggressive support, but I think that's the reason why we're not seeing much action, because you're paired with something very reliant on positioning. It's not about you land a skill shot, then you start a fight. It's actually you have to get near. And without the Fate Skull, it's not going to be such a reliable option with a pre-level 6 Taric.
Yeah. And of course, we can go ahead and take a look toward our standings if we have this pause. Again, Hong Kong Attitude, if they're able to take home a victory, they will qualify for playoffs, or at least be forced into a tiebreaker with possibly J-Team if they are also able to win their match. A loss here, though, means they are tied with Liav, and then they will have to play a tiebreaker to get into playoffs no matter what. Unless J-Team also lose, then it becomes a question of strength of schedule, as one team will actually get a bye and get a playoff spot based off strength of schedule of the teams they have beaten, but then they still have to play a playoff to actually decide the rank of the positioning overall.
And that's the reason why this match in particular is very scary. We see a lot of smiles, at least from HKA, before they went in towards this this match they had with Talon. Again, Talon is such a scary team, and we still have one more match, which is J-Team against Machi. Machi at the top of the charts right now. They're still in an, I believe, 11-win streak after yesterday, so they seem really unstoppable right now.
Yeah, they're looking for 12 wins back-to-back, which is a bit disgusting. For AHQ, they're actually hoping that Machi lose, because there's an opportunity for AHQ to actually have a better seeding. They already have the bye locked in, both of the teams, so they're kind of fighting over first place still.
Yeah, indeed. As you can see, Machi and HQ very even right now on the scoreboard, but imagine if Machi on their 12th win streak tonight. That's gonna be just insane. But yeah, HQ, at least they managed to stop the bleed, like, so far, because from what we've seen before, it was just going out of control with deaths per lane. Now that we've only seen one death so far, and it's not going out of control at least. So that's the good sign.
Yeah, that's the hopeful side here. So again, it looks like we're still trying to resolve the audio issue, so we'll hopefully get you guys a little bit more updated once we get ourselves back into the game. For now, though, Riku, what have you been able to do to kind of keep yourself nice and calm? I know you've been kind of isolating yourself over there back home ever since you came back from Bangkok. What do you do in your spare time?
Of course, it's just watching anime, reading manga. That's basically what I do to keep myself sane right now. And yeah, it's basically been very effective, as it's pretty immersive. right now. And you've been also isolated, as I believe that curfew has already started on your side of things.
Okay, so curfew won't start for about an hour, so if you guys are
okay.
unfamiliar with the happenings over in Southeast Asia, there's a couple countries that have instituted curfews. Thailand, you're not allowed outside after 10 p.m. up until I think it is 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., which is a little annoying if you're a caster like me. Riku will know I often always ate dinner after the show. And usually I didn't go to bed until later in the night. That's because I was watching Valorant streams all the darn time last night.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, both me and Riku are like, gimme keys, come on.
Gimme keys.
Want into that beta?
CUD keys, let's go.
Well, that's for another time there, of course. But yeah, so dinner is going to be probably a little sad tonight. It's probably just going to be some rice and meat. That'll probably be dinner for tonight. Nothing too fancy.
I actually miss Thailand food too. Thai food is amazing.
Do you now? What did you actually like love the most?
I think it's the rice, the meat and the rice, the stir fried. Yeah, the stir fried meat, the spicy stir fried meat. I love that.
I know the one that I always ordered. You said it was a little too much for your throat there, especially right before you went into casting. So, luckily, it sounds like we are going to be going to a quick break, Riku. So, we'll be right back after a short intermission. Stick around, everybody. And welcome back, everybody, as we get set for our next game of the night. Well, I would say next game, if we had a next game. For right now, though, we're waiting for the pause to be resolved, and luckily like that, we're back into the game between Talon and Hong Kong Attitude.
Awesome sauce, and we're back in action with Talon. To summarize a little bit, we got 1 kill over at top side with 3Z. Getting his flash back soon at least, so that's something. But meanwhile, as long as Candy still gets priority on mid lane, it just allows him to roam and just keep on with the dives, especially against 3Z, who doesn't have a lot of CC, hard CC rather, and just have to rely on placement of equalizers just to try and make an outplay.
With that, Talon are going to go ahead and get a little bit of invade. They've been very aggressive on this bot side of the map, especially with this Bard, and it's actually resulted in M&M starting to fall a little bit behind in CS, even with the consistent roams coming out from Kaiwing. As looking to hunt for Jimyon, not going to find it though, as he's going to be able to just dash away to safety. Yeah, it does take a quick chunk of damage, but nothing too serious.
Wow, very aggressive coming from Kaiwing. Again, asserting dominance here, as just delaying the back coming from Jimyon a little bit. And now, everything seems to be fine and dandy, as Hanabi is again quite difficult to gank with additional vision at least, and as well as a ward placed over by the River Brush. And meanwhile, again, we are expecting for HKA to be that team to slow the bleed and not allow things to get out of control, because Talon Esports has managed to do that against Liab, has sort of did that against Resurgence. That was still a pretty close fight today. And now for Talon, they've been very active with the objectives and just had 1 gank so far.
We see here massive waves starting to form in this bot lane and maybe looking for a possible gank. Did they see the particle go in onto Wing? I don't think they did, as Hollow was sitting back, but unfortunately looks like Hong Kong Attitude are not going to go for this dive, as it's a bit of too much of a big wave for the Varus and Bard to be occupied. And with that too, River is able to go ahead and take the Rift Herald.
Yeah, no contest whatsoever. Again, as first they get the dragon, and now Kaiwing is going to be free to roam once more. And usually around this time, we see, you know, the lane swaps from both teams to either try and contest, but because there's no threat at all, Talon can just take this one without any sort of threat.
So now with Rift Herald in hand, Talon could maybe look for one of those dives we've been kind of waiting for. Is Kaiwing again just roaming here on the Bard, collecting his chimes. Jimyon getting pretty aggressive. Candy, though, could easily turn this one around. Wing is nearby as well. Glacial Prison going to be used, but oh no! It's just out of range. Now Kaiwing able to get re-engage here with the double stun. Still, though, a nice heal coming out from Wing is going to keep him and his jungler alive.
Nicely done by Talon, and Candy only having to burn a flash and not his life. And in the meantime, you see the bot lane of HKA go back to their own respective posts, and once more Kaiwing has been hanging around back and forth with this, has already the boots of swiftness.
3Z forced to go back to his tower as ping's coming out from the side of Talon, looking for a dive, and we'll take another look here in this mid lane. It wasn't too crazy, it was just a little short there on the ulti. Ooh.
Yep, for sure, as we've seen the nicely done stun coming from Kaiwing and 3Z again. We've expected this, but on the...
Oh, that's going to be Tempered Fate coming out here. River, oh! That's a hard one to hit, as 3Z was probably mashing his flash away, so not able to pick up the kill there, but that does mean he's going to be flashless, and with the Rift Herald in tow, Hanabi can go ahead and get some turret plating.
Every single time 3Z has used his flash, every single time it's up, he immediately has to use his flash once more because of the bot lane.
Oh, let's see here. That's actually going to be a pretty aggressive play coming out here, and they're actually able to find as Candy's going to get taken on down. There is the Chain of Corruption. The Wing's going to retake the aggro, and Candy is going to be out of here. And now Kaiwing wants to find more. M&M does have flash available. He might get, again, just slowed, as he has himself no terrain nearby for Kaiwing to actually land the stun.
That was actually pretty aggressive from HKA, and we were expecting it to be a top side, but this is actually a very nice stun coming from Wing as well. So once Candy landed, the stun was just perfect, but at the same time, the Fate Skull didn't really help the dive well because aggro just immediately turned towards Wing.
There we go. It's going to be Talon once again, sitting on a 2,000 gold lead. Going to have Cloud Drake joining us in about 20 seconds. Jimmy's looking. They actually spot out River. Maybe realize, hey, River might not be alone, but Kaiwing is a little too far away to actually help out here. Going to go on over the wall, maybe looking for the double stun. Not going to find it here as now River tries to run away. And again, the ultimate is literally just a sliver away, pixels behind River. But in the end, it's still going to be Jimmy picking up the kill on the Renekton. And now Kaiwing caught out in the side here. It's a nice stun coming out from the Bard, able to keep him safe. But Hong Kong Attitude not going down without a fight.
Going a little bit messy here and there for both of these sides, and looks like River was quite excited diving into the jungle of HKA and not spotting out Holo over there. I mean, Kaiwing was with you, but it was hard for Candy to join the fight. And again, the ult didn't really get that stun, full stun on towards River, but in any case, Jimyeon finishes off the kill, which we are looking forward to, considering that is a Renekton. We've seen how Renekton can snowball, but there's still a problem there. Hanabi is still in the game and has been farming alone with no one bothering him at all.
Yeah, and he also has that one kill, so he's already picked up his Bork as his first item, and he just kills 3Z, who tried to go through the jungle. Unfortunately, 3Z with no flash is not able to get back to safety, and that's a solo kill now for that Quinn. That is a very concerning trend that might start to unfold repeatedly.
And that's the scary part about this composition from Talon. I mean, you managed to sort of equalize things on the other side of the map, and sadly, it's not going to be enough, even though, you know, Seeker's Arm Guard Sark Boots already there for yourself, but with one completed item already for Hanabi, he can definitely try to reposition himself away from the flames. But now, this is going to be part 2 of Talon, roaming the jungle of HKA.
I see HKA forced to have to take a step back as they're just looking to clear out some ward coverage. It is going to be Infernal Soul, so that's actually burned down a couple of the camp walls, so not as many options there for Kaiwing to actually go for the surprise tunnels as he'll be spotted out. We'll see here River looking for the cocoon. Ooh, does land it, but Candy decided already that he didn't really want to go for a trade. Instead, Talon just going to go ahead, pressure up, look to clear out some of the vision laid down by Wing, as he's going to come around the wall. If he's not careful, he'll get also caught out. And just a lot of vision being denied here by Talon.
Indeed, and with that, Holo also moving towards this part of the map as well. Now 3Z may be involved in some of these fights.
Oh, getting aggressive here. Jimyeon, ooh, decent chunk of damage coming out. The Electrocute and that finished echoes for River. Does a decent amount of damage. You also got to be concerned here as Hanabi's actually finished off his Phantom Dancer on his most recent back. This Quinn has a full, pretty much, item and a half advantage over 3Z, who's only been able to really complete his Sork Boots. And unfortunately, he can't stay around for too long, as Hanabi might just go and dive him. Has to maybe equalizer the wave, but gets himself to safety, and there it is, equalizer. But unfortunately, Candy went on the other side, and 3Z is just going to get taken down here unless they're not able to. Hanabi can't finish off the kill, and 3Z gets the kill credit as Candy went a little too long underneath the tower. Holo able to finally hit the Glacial Prison. That does force out, though, the cleanse from Hanabi.
That was definitely the plan in mind, and you can tell that it has been the bane for some of these all-in kind of teams, especially when you look at Alpha earlier, has been stopped by the Taric, and as you can see, Wing just came right in time. So Dazzle not able to stun anyone, but the ult is right there in time, with HKA actually getting this Rift Herald.
Oh, Rift Herald could be secured. Here comes Hanabi, though, on that Harrier. Wants to rejoin on the fight. Kaiwing actually going to use the Temper Fate to interrupt the take. And, oh, there it is. Wing is just taken down immediately. And unfortunately, now Holo is also going to get taken on down. Rift Herald is secured by Eminem, but now he's left alone to his own devices. It's a triple kill for Hanabi, and it's going to be an ace for Talon.
You've got 2 carries right now. You've got Hanabi, you've got Unified on this Varus, and getting that triple kill there, that's a 5-0-0 on Quinn right now, and that's insane.
Yeah, you see here, Engage came out from Kaiwing, just looking to stall out the fight. Wing got obliterated right away.
Indeed, and 3Z though, unfortunately already too late. Just get that TP, only to just get blasted by Talon's carries at this point, and you can see a lot of burst damage from the poke. Yeah, burst damage in general from Hanabi, River, Candy, and Unified. The skill rotations coming from these champions are just insane.
So with that, it's now a 6,000 gold lead in favor of Talon. This is the optimal point for this composition if they really want to continue to just go for dives and make plays happen. As you're starting to get your second item onto Candy here shortly, he'll have that Black Cleaver likely completed. He also got a little bit of lethality there in the kit. And like we mentioned, Hanabi already spiking hard here onto his second and now working toward his third item.
Yeah, definitely going to be helpful with the Ghost Blade here. Once he dives somewhere in the map and HKA starts to scram, then at least he has that movement speed to help him close that gap. Unified very far forward. Hanabi getting another tower at topside. No, they've conceded.
There's no one that can deal with him. It's similar to what we see with the Kalista in the top lane as, well, Hanabi's just going to keep on pushing. 3Z is going to try and answer him, but we've seen a couple times now what happens. He does have Equalizer, so he'll probably be forced to lay that down, but Hanabi ends up going back into the Harrier. He's just going to try and steal away minions in the jungle. Meanwhile, River and Candy just pick up the Infernal Drink.
And that is another easy take for Talon on the Dragon, as HKA is busy still having to scare off Hanabi with numbers. Again, you mentioned no one can deal with him, not even Jimian, not even 3Z.
Oh, Jimian. That's unfortunate there, bud. He's got nowhere to run. Hanabi is dominating now, 6-0-0 on the Quinn. And for Talon, they aren't going to make this easy for Hong Kong Attitude to try and get into the playoffs here, as they're looking to deny them and force them to play tiebreakers against at least Liab.
That is the plan in mind, Talon. Again, nothing to lose, nothing to gain. But now, as you can see, Jimian had nowhere else to go. Even though he would have flashed out of that wall, he did have flash at that time. Candy was lying and waiting there at the opposite side of the map. Again, of all the kills, most of them are on the side of Hanabi, and he's still growing exponentially here as the Quinn.
There we go. It's going to be Talon getting himself back to safety after getting a little bit of chip damage. It's still an 8,000 gold lead. Hanabi, he's a bit scary, to say the very least. I don't know when he last back, but he had half mana, so I assume he's still sitting on a decent chunk of gold. Jimian's going to try. I don't think you can try Jimian. There's the rest of his team, though, coming over the side, and Hollow actually tried to go for the flash Arctic Assault, not able to land it. Hanabi using his flash and cleanse immediately. Doesn't actually have the flash to get away. That's still a decent amount of damage, and luckily for Hong Kong Attitude, nothing on the map for Talon to take in response, as 3 members are committed to the top side of the map to kill him.
I was just about to say there's no vision for Talon. There's no vision for Hanabi to be overly extended at that portion of the map. So HKA can get that jump on towards Hanabi whenever Talon decides to be a little bit overextended. And of course, even though you're 6 kills already far ahead of HKA, you're still not going to be strong enough against 3 people.
There we go. It's going to be a nice job here as you saw Hanabi. He tried to survive. He almost took Jimian down with him. Unfortunately, his cleanse was burned pretty early, and he had nowhere to run.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Yeah, Jimian was quite low at the time, and HKA still has control over this topside jungle, at least, despite losing that inner tower atop, in the form of vision and presence as well. But if you invest too much at topside, that means you want to protect Baron, but at the same time, you leave Hanabi open for split pushing at bot.
Meanwhile, it's going to be Talon just getting vision over the Baron pit, and Hanabi continues his side lane push, his crusade against towers, as he's just getting all this gold for him. Oh, he pops the Harrier. He tries to get out to safety. It's forced to flash out of him immediately, and he isn't able to take down the tower, unfortunately. That tower has about, 5 health on it. He's going to probably wish he had one more auto attack, as he won't be able to claim that gold, but one gust of wind could knock over that tower now.
Absolutely, and it was definitely a risky play to probably want to wait.
It was probably a risky way, to say the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
very risky.
Very risky. Very risky. Let's see here, though. Talon pressing forward. just trying to get down some vision. We're going to have Infernal Drake coming up now in about a minute 20. So let's see what the priority is going to be. If Talon are left alone to take this Baron, they can actually rip it down fast. As Hanabi, you know the man. You can't stop him. 3Z will have Equalizer up soon, but it looks like he won't need it as Hanabi continues just to pressure down and maybe go for plays here and there.
There is still no vision, but you do have that W at least from Hanabi. He's getting slowed down. He's fine. Scared.
He just drifts slowly over toward 3Z as the minions are able to take it. Now he's going to try and get himself out of dodge. He tries to channel the Harrier every time in front of HKA, and that's a shutdown, actually. Going over to 3Z as a Rumble, you always love getting some free gold, and that's starting to get 3Z back in the game.
For sure, and interesting enough, I think Talon wanted to start something in mid lane. Gonna spot out Kai Wing over there. Yeah, they wanted to start something in mid lane, considering that they invested, you know, Hollow having to deal the Hanabi problem at bot side, but looks like they weren't able to get anything in exchange, so that is still pretty good.
Let's see here, though. Engage comes out from Hong Kong Attitude, looking for the play, but that Cosmic Radiance is going to come down, and Wing's already taken before it lands on top of him. Hollow rejoins in toward the fight. He does not have his Glacial Prison available. 3Z wants to try and answer here, but Talon, they're coming in full force as Candy jumps in with his ultimate. It's going to be a kill going over to M&M, though. Stun does land, though, and 3Z just gets torn apart instantly by the burst, and now they're going to continue going forward. Kaiwing with a flash on forward, not able to find the kill. Exhaust is there. Unified finds the piercing arrow to secure the kill. The Cocoon will come out from River to track down Hollow, and now M&M, here comes Hanabi. He just bursts them down. That's the ace for Talon.
He literally just went zoom from base to mid lane. That's how incredibly fast, and that's how long that chase was between HKA and Talon. And now because there's so much death timers and a lot of people are still alive for Talon, this leaves open the Baron buff.
Yeah, and that's a double Bork there, so they can just go ahead and take down this Baron pretty fast. And with no one to answer on the side of Hong Kong Attitude, that's now going to be an over 10,000k gold lead in favor of Talon.
What a game for Talon. And putting Quinn... Oh, he's not stopping? Yep, it's over.
Yeah, you can say a lot here what's over, as unfortunately, I think for HKA, Talon have just been able to outdo them. You can see the start of this fight, it's Jimmy going for the engage.
Yeah, and the Cosmic Radiance just didn't tick enough to the point where at least Wing could have survived. But at the same time, there's really no escape unless, you know, Fate's Call was on, which was off cooldown at the time. And Eminem, though, has a huge amount of damage at this point because he was left untouched. But on the other side of the spectrum, we did mention that for Talon. But look at the opposite side, though. Look at Hanabi making his way downtown, going and aiming for a better option of entry, and spots out Eminem. And therefore, it is an ace for Talon Esports.
Yeah, ace with Baron, and Hanabi being a speedy boy on the Quinn now. It's a bit scary watching him Harrier into the back line of the fights. And with this should be an easy closeout for Talon as you're this far ahead. Hanabi, he knows what he wants to do. He wants to end this game. He's trying to get everyone to come up to top lane and just get the ball rolling as it's only 3Z here to defend. Hollow's going to now show himself. Candy's in bot lane. And you see just these multiple angles of attack as Hanabi's just nearby buffing up the minions. Meanwhile, mid lane's being taken by Talon.
And considering that you have Hanabi still Cleanse online and QSS too, so it's definitely hard to keep investing a lot of these hard stuns just for one member. And it will be understandable because Hanabi has all of the kills, but look at Unified. He's 406 with Ginsu's and as well as that Bork completed, so he will be a definite threat for Talon Esports, for HKA rather.
It even looks like he's going to maybe go Gnasher's Tooth for a little bit of AP damage in the build. It's a little bit wacky, but I love it. I doubt he's going into Triforce, but nonetheless, it's still going to be the tower almost taken down here. You take a look toward that live feed, though, on the bottom left. The engage came out from Talon, and now it's going to be the Tempered Fate coming out from N&M. It's a double kill for River on this Elise. It's a triple. Candy takes away the Quadra, and 3Z, he's running for the hills, but the crits are raining through, and it's going to be Hanabi with the kill, and with Baroned up minions, this is a definitive win for Talon Esports as Hong Kong Attitude are now forced to at least play a tiebreaker against Liab if they want to try and make it into the playoffs.
Yep, and there we go. The dream is still alive, definitely, for these teams, HKA and Liab. So, with that, quite a difficult defeat coming from the side of HKA. They weren't able to deal with this monster called Hanabi.
Yeah, Hanabi himself was, you know, when they tell about, you know, fiction and those, you know, creepypastas, they talk about this crazy lady with a bird, with a crossbow, and then it's Hanabi just running it down against the super meched up Rumble, and unfortunately, there's not a whole lot 3Z could do.
Yeah, and you can tell how far ahead Talon was, especially on Hanabi, when, you know, he was just taking towers left and right with no one having any sort of chance to try and defend that solo. You have to invest 2 or 3 members just to shut him down, and at the end of the day, it made it even harder with, you know, a cleanse and a QSS to boot, and how far ahead he was in terms of damage. So with that, I'd be afraid of Hanabi for sure coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, so coming into the playoffs, I think that's a little bit of a scary one. Talon still, their season may not be over. It actually comes down to this next game now against J-Team and Machi, where if Machi actually dropped the ball, it actually allows Talon to possibly fight for a second place position over AHQ, which is going to be pretty exciting. And I'm a bit shocked overall. It's been a bit of a crazy one. No, I'm not. I'm talking about AHQ versus Talon. No, it's actually going to be Machi and AHQ that could be fighting over the top place. But nonetheless, we'll take a look at some of the highlights from that game, and you can kind of just see where this match really snowballed out of control here on the side of Talon.
And we did mention on how it's a different playstyle too, with Candy not on the mage this time. He's definitely more on the assisting the rest of the team with this Pantheon and creating impact. And this is one of the last few fights on where Wing was eliminated, and at the first hand with the Cosmic Radiance tick not kicking in. And there were a couple of seconds. I just actually want to see the Hanabi just zoom in from base, just straight to the fight. And he was eliminated at bot side first. And that's how long this thing progressed. That's how long, and how Hanabi still managed to be involved with the second fight.
So there we go, with Hanabi being so far ahead. He just comes on by, and poor Eminem's like, oh, there goes all my health bar. He'll get taken out there, and that is going to be the victory going over to Talon Esports in the repeat of the Battle of Hong Kong between them and HKA.
Yep, indeed. It seems to be a 2-0 from Talon. The previous fight was quite difficult for HKA, and right now it's a different scenario in where Hanabi really nailed down the pain at top side, and it just spun out of control.
Yeah, and from now it's HKA looking toward the next game actually being played out to see whether or not they have to play in a 3-way tiebreaker between them, J-Team, or Liab. If not, I think no matter what the situation is, they actually do play against Liab in a tiebreaker at least, because based off strength of schedule, J-Team would actually be the highest placed seed into that mini bracket. So I guess now you look toward that matchup against Liab and you say, all right, what can we try and do and what can we improve, as they are equal 1-1 when it comes to the record. Yeah,
indeed. And with that, you know, the coming match is quite also difficult for J-Team as well, since it is against Machi, and Machi's on a 11 win streak at the moment.
And MVP, it's going to go on over to Kaiwing, which had some pretty good Bard play. He got himself about an 85% kill participation, so not too bad on support, making roams. Maybe production didn't want to give it to the crazy Bird Quinn lady. That's a possibility. As Hanabi maybe scared them as he exited the play area. But it's going to be Kaiwing with the MVP.
Yeah, well deserved coming from Kaiwing. Especially you saw how forward Kaiwing would go just to land these stuns, despite having to face, you know, an all-in melee, like a couple of bruisers here and there. So Kaiwing really deserved it, especially he roamed so much with the rest of Talon over there, with River most especially. So I'm excited to see more Bard, especially at the end of the regular split. Bard is still 100% win rate.
Yeah, it seems to be the pocket pick when it comes to the PCS if teams are looking for that easy victory. Who knows? Maybe teams just aren't able to play against the Tempered Fate. Maybe the Qs are too much. Maybe he does too much damage. or maybe they just have every other lane getting ahead, so who knows. We're going to go ahead, though, and take a short break. When we come back, it is going to be our final game of the regular season, Machi taking on J-Team.